Oh, from Radio City, Midtown Manhattan. I mean, what is the luck? What are the odds? What are the odds that in North Kansas City, a couple would get their credit card bill back? Oh, and they would find their McCain supporters, and they would find on their credit card bill a $2,300 donation to Barack Obama's presidential campaign. What could this guy... You know what? I have to tell you something. I've had a come-to-Jesus moment on Barack Obama. And there's two ways to really look at this. This guy is surrounded by some of the most evil people you could possibly imagine. The signs are everywhere. It's one thing after another, after another, after another. And you could start to say, wait a minute, I'm not buying any of these excuses. Or you could say, why, he's just the most unlucky guy ever. Now, I used to be I don't think I buy any of these excuses. But you know what? After seeing that last credit card thing with the Acorn, and you're like, okay, now somebody is stealing credit cards and making donations to the Obama campaign. You could say, you know what? Everybody who's nefarious seems to be involved in helping this guy get elected. But that's just, you know what it is? Luck. Because hard work, you don't look. And one thing I've learned is you don't really control your own destiny. People are going to do everything they can to keep you down. You don't trust. You won't be able to make it. And that's what's happened in Barack. He's just trying to make it. He's just trying. And think of the odds that he is overcoming. Think of the horrible. Look, you think you had it bad? You have no idea what life is like if you're Barack Obama. I know he's ahead in the polls and everything, and I know he's probably going to do an unbelievable job at winning this November, but it's way closer than it should be. Why is that? Policies? No. He's hopeful. He's change-ish. Bad luck. Think of this. I'm just noodling this before I went on the air. Think of these things. Out of all of the women in America that he could marry, hundreds of millions of women that Barack Obama, he's a good-looking guy. He's fit, he's trim, he's smart, he's successful-ish. He's got a bright future, unless you know about his luck thing. Out of all the women that he could marry, the possible next president of the United States, he finds the one woman who's not proud of her country and wants to change its history. The one he happens to luck into. What are the odds? I mean, it's not like they were related at all on those things. He falls in love with her, and he's like, oh my gosh. And he probably didn't even know it until she said it on the campaign trail. He's like, oh my, I didn't know that. And then, because this way all women are, we gotta go find a church. Let's go find a church. And he's like, okay. And the new couple, they're still happy. He doesn't know she's unhappy with the country. Well, they pick out a new church, and they go there for 20 years. Everything seems great. Except now they find out after he starts running for president that the pastor, a guy they considered, quote, family, hates America. What? What are the odds? His wife doesn't like America. She's not happy. She's never been proud of the country. Completely unrelated. A complete coincidence. The pastor hates America. Poor Barack Obama. I mean, maybe Michelle and Reverend Wright have something in common. I don't know. Maybe they've been sitting around talking about it. I don't know if she knew, but Barack didn't. He's like, oh, geez, now we've got two family members that hate America. What are the odds? And not just people who hate America, but this pastor who was family thinks America is a racist country where all the white people in the government are trying to kill all the black people in the country with AIDS. They invented AIDS. Now you not only have somebody who hates America, but you have somebody who's crazy in your family. And you didn't know it for 20 years. And by the way, if that were true, if the government were trying to kill all black people in America, black people, you should be very, very safe. Because it's a government-run program. I mean, you're gonna die of natural causes way before the government could actually get around to actually killing you. But then Barack Obama's luck gets even worse. I mean, that's bad enough luck. At this point, I'm thinking, come on, that's not a coincidence. I mean, he's attracting these things to him. No. Can't you see? You're not in control of your own destiny. You're destined to be a victim. And there's nobody who knows victims like Barack Obama. Think of this. Okay, he's in that church for 20 years. Apparently, the pastor would only say crazy, hateful things about America, not around the dinner table, not around his house, and never, ever say things like U.S. KKK of A or, G-damn America or anything like that. Only the times that Barack and Michelle were in attendance did he say things like that. And apparently all of the friends that would have been shocked by something like that, they didn't attend that weekend either because nobody ever said, my gosh, you should have heard what the pastor said this weekend. It was completely out of character. Nobody said anything. He didn't know. What are the odds? It's crazy. And that pattern went on for 20 years. That's how bad of luck Barack Obama has. 20 years, every single time. The guy doesn't show up for church. It's nonstop. The government creates the AIDS virus. Unbelievable. What are the odds? How was he supposed to know that the pastor was a nut job? For 2 decades, the Obamas missed every racist, hateful comment towards America, and so did all of their friends. The rest of the time, every time they were there, he was talking about, actual Bible stuff. The odds are unbelievable. And that's just the beginning. Then Barack is like, hey, I want to be a state senator. Where should I have it? I could launch it from a park. I could go to a cool podium someplace. Maybe I could go to a Pizza Hut. Where could I possibly? And somebody says, hey, I know you can go and do it at my house. And he's like, really? Now you would think to yourself, well, that's lucky. And I'm sure that's what Barack Obama was saying. I don't have any place to do it. I don't know if I can get a park and a podium. I don't know if I can get into the Pizza Hut and we'll have room for all the cameras. And this guy seems to have a big house. I don't know him. I mean, we live kind of in the same neighborhood, but we don't really talk. Okay. So he launches his house. And it's this beautiful house. Turns out, ready for this one? Turns out the guy is a homegrown terrorist. I mean, who knew? I mean, besides everybody, because the guy wasn't hiding it and it was in the New York Times. But who knew? I mean, heirs had blown up buildings, even the Pentagon, which is wild because somebody else just blew up the Pentagon. And you'd think that would come up in conversation, like when you're meeting him. Hey, by the way, you're launching your campaign over the William Ayers house. You do know that he's the guy who blew up the Pentagon. Never mind. That's how unlucky Barack Obama is. None of his friends knew. He didn't know. What are the odds? I mean, you really got to feel for Barack Obama at some point. This guy just can't catch a break. He's just trying to do the right thing. He's just trying to organize his community. That's it. It's completely, the A's aren't where the A's are supposed to be, and the F's are over in the G slot. And he's like, I got to reorganize this whole community now. I'm busy. Can somebody throw me a bone and tell me who's a terrorist and who's not a terrorist? I mean, what are there? Only a couple hundred domestic terrorists in America? Maybe. I mean, I think I'm being pretty generous. Maybe a couple of hundred people. 300 million people in the country. And you're like, oh, crap. I'm sitting with a domestic terrorist at his house launching my campaign. It's incredible. This guy is Charlie Brown. You got to feel sorry for him. He's a victim. And you can relate to him because you're a victim, too. You'll never be able to make it. You need somebody to help you. And because he understands victims, he can help you. I've just reframed this in my head and realized, what are the odds?